Hey guys, my name is Miranda King. I am a freshman this year at SAU. I'm a non traditional student and I'm studying business management. The title of my paper is Arming Teachers to Protect Students. So, why I chose this topic was because one, my sister is a teacher. The week that we had the topic proposal, her school had an active shooter drill. And so that's kind of what gave me the idea of, you know, what I really wanted to write about. It sounded kind of interesting, why they were doing these drills. And I kind of thought, well, what if they armed the teachers? So that's kind of how the whole idea got started for me. The second reason is because it's apparently a very highly and debatable and controversial issue. For myself, I don't have any kids, but I've had exchange students that were in high school, and this was never an issue. But I mean, when I was in high school, the one shooting I can remember is Columbine. I think that happened in 1999, so I would have been a junior maybe. So then the third reason is for the safety of children in schools. I think that's a number one issue for everyone is that we want to keep kids safe. So a little bit about the background. School shootings. Several that come to mind are Columbine, Sandy Hook, Santa Fe, and Parkland, Florida. So 1 week after the Sandy Hook elementary shooting, the NRA proposed the National School Shield program. It includes training guidelines and considerations for placing armed staff in every school. So, my thesis is why would it be beneficial to arm teachers to protect students in schools? Schools can benefit from having armed teachers based on several factors. Arming teachers or school staff can help teachers and students feel safe. States that already have teachers armed and trained can benefit by significantly reduced response time to an active shooting and would eliminate the need for waiting for law enforcement to arrive in order to control the situation. This could be especially beneficial for schools in rural areas. The cost of hiring more security or school resource officers for each school may be less cost effective for schools that already have teachers and other staff that could assume these duties with proper training. So, the first thing I went with was feeling safe. So, we have Callisburg Independent School District. It's in Texas. They started a Marshall program, and it's comprised of resource officers and guardians. And I quoted that from the Senate Select Committee on Violence in Schools and School Security report to the 86th legislature on page 9. So the guardians are a small staff allowed to carry a concealed firearm on school grounds. And I quoted that from Chavez. One of the 70 school districts that allowed teachers, they're one of 70 that allowed the teachers and administrators to carry concealed weapons on school grounds. And that's also quoted from Chavez. So, some of the requirements that they have to meet in order to carry a concealed weapon, they must hold a current concealed handgun license, complete a mandatory 8 hours of training, undergo psychological and background checks, and complete a 16-hour license renewal course for every 2 years. And that was also quoted from the Senate Select Committee on Violence in Schools and School Security report to the 86th legislature, page 9. And one anonymous student at Callisburg High School said, quote, I feel really safe knowing that I can come to school and that if there's an incident that does happen, that they'll be able to protect us, end quote. And that's quoted from Chavez. So my second point was to reduce response time. So, in a study conducted between 2000 and 2013, the FBI identified that there was a total of 160 active shooter incidents in the United States, resulting in a total of 1,043 victims killed and wounded. There were 57 individuals killed and 60 wounded in 27 school incidents across this time frame. 63 of the total incidents ended in 5 minutes or less, and 23 ended in 2 minutes or less. That was quoted from Blair and Sweet, page 5, 7 through 8, and 15. So Craig Besnet, the assistant superintendent of Wiley ISD in Texas, he began reviewing safety precautions after the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting. He indicated that most active shooter events end within 3 to 5 minutes and an average of 8 to 9 attempts of murder per minute. The district believed that in the event that there was a threat of an active shooter, that only having one school resource officer would not be sufficient enough. The school thought that the best option would be to enter the Marshall program to respond to threats in under 3 minutes. That's quoted from the Senate Select Committee on Violence in Schools and School Security, report to the 86th Legislature, page 11. So my third point was cost. So in response to the NRA's School Shield program, Edward Hill's report in 2013 calculated the cost to place an armed resource officer in all schools throughout the United States, using several different cost estimate scenarios, since the cost estimate cannot be provided for the NRA's proposal. One report accounted for variables in salary, student body size, and hours worked in an academic year, but does not include all costs of securing the school, such as panic buttons, door locks, and damage-resistant glass for classrooms, cameras and recording equipment, and security for exterior doors. The estimates take into consideration the placement of, quote, a full security package with an armed school resource officer in every school and a complement of SRGs and SROs scaled to the student population of a school would result in the hiring of 156,400 officers and 148,500 guards at a total cost that ranges between 19.1 to 22.6 billion a year, end quote. And that came from The Cost of Arming Schools, the Price of Stopping a Bad Guy with a Gun, page 6. After the Sandy Hook tragedy, Clarksville School District in Arkansas couldn't afford to hire an extra full-time security guard. Hiring one school resource officer would have cost the district about $50,000 a year, end quote. So instead, they trained more than a dozen teachers and staff members as trained guards and spent at least $68,000 to train 13 staff members when they started the program. And that was quoted from Chavez. So you either have one guard for $50,000 or you have 13 people that can arm a school for a little bit more. So, I mean, you do the math. I mean, they had a cost savings there, I believe. One of the surprising elements in my paper was that all the different states that are signing, passing laws and things to arm teachers in these states. So it includes Alabama, Arkansas is one of them, Georgia, Kansas, Oklahoma, South Dakota, and Texas are among the 8 states that's passed the laws to arm these teachers, administrators, or both. And then it goes on to say Arizona, Colorado, Maine, Missouri, South Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, and Utah have proposed similar legislation. And that was an indirect quote from in Kelly, page 32. One of the challenges that was really big for me was finding information on this topic. um, there is not a lot of information. Like, there's not a lot of research. Just the few things of research that I found, you know, I mean, it was really limited, especially since we were really only able to use one website because everything that I kept finding kept tying back to a news source of, like USA Today or, CNN or something like that. So it was really hard finding information, especially through those scholarly journals and things. And here's my works cited. And I just want to thank you guys for watching, and I appreciate your time.